Hey, what's up guys? So we're going to talk about 3,000 trophy bases and what you need to do to get to 3,000 trophies. So we're going to take a look at some of the bases here, and to do this we're going through the Alliance Wars, the Dark Brotherhood, and you'll notice that 3,000 trophy bases here, they all look a lot different. I mean, you don't really see any base that is dominant, that is always coming out. You do have a couple L shapes. L shapes are pretty popular. Again, there's a lot of different variety. The one thing that you do see in most bases is that there's some gargoyles in there. So gargoyles in the lower levels, below say 4,000 trophies, are very effective. You probably want to have a couple gargoyles in your base. As you can see, we go up a little bit higher. You start getting into the mummies being there. A lot of it has to do with the castle gate itself. So to get to the 3,000 trophy base, you can see we're very close with King J-Dub. The thing that's holding us back here is our defense. Our defense is not up to par. We have a weakish defense. Our offense is great. I could easily get to 3,000 trophies with just my offense. But when I get to 3,000 trophies, then people are going to come in and start stealing my trophies because my defense can't keep them out. The gate here is the main important factor. You need to raise your castle gate up to level 12 or level 13. And once you get it up to 12 or 13, you're going to have a very solid defense at the castle gate right there. You can also start to line up towers on the left and the right over here if you have these spots available. That gives you a lot of DPS right at your castle gate. That's also a good way to earn some gems, because if people die right in front of your castle gate, they're more likely to resurrect right there. So castle gate becomes very powerful, especially if you could win the Doom Gate in the Alliance Wars, getting first place. But even without the Doom Gate, you can check out the stats here. Castle gate at level 11, 315 points of damage. He shoots out really quick there. He's got 37,000 life. He's just pretty strong. So the most important thing to get to 3,000 trophies is to level up that castle gate. Get it up as fast as possible. The next thing that you want to do, and is critical, is waves. Almost all your waves should be at level 8. This will allow you to have 22 points in here, and you can see you fill out your waves. Typically, you're going to start off with your first couple waves, and we are slowly but surely making our way. And this is another reason that I personally am not at 3,000 trophies. We have waves here that are only at level 6. And you can see at level 6 to level 8, or level 7, we gain 3 morale points. And then same thing, when you go to level 8, you gain 3 morale points. So getting your waves all up to level 8 is critical, and you get a lot of bang for your buck right there. A lot of great more defenses come out with the strength of those waves. So get all your waves to level 8s, get your castle gate up to level 12 or 13. Right there, that's the basics of what you should do for your base. The other thing is, you just either need to level up all your towers. So we're still using arrow towers, and arrow towers can be effective, but you do have to just spend a lot of money and level them up. You can see we're currently maxed out at level 9. We need to get the construction plant to level 4 to get it to level 10. If we keep just going this path and go the simple, fast arrow tower route, it can work. You can use arrow towers, and they can be very effective. You just need to build them up. Any tower, for the most part, can be pretty effective. Eventually, you do want to have Firebolt Towers and Skull Towers for, the sub 3,000 trophy game. But they are very expensive. You can see just level 3 is already costing us $2.5 million, or million gold. And that's going to be quite a hard thing to do to fill up every little slot. Getting an arrow tower up to level 9 is not that expensive. It only costs maybe a total of like 3 or 4 million for every upgrade. And you could be using that since level 1. So arrow towers still are very effective. And then at this point, if your alliance has barricades, you definitely want to upgrade your barricades. And you want to get those up as fast as possible. The great thing is that they're really quick. 6 hours, 25,000, they're very cheap. So spend all of your gold on your castle gates, your waves, and then fill out your base with arrow towers, barricades. Those are my recommendations there. Typically, you don't want to have the bomb towers. So there's a bomb tower over here, and this is another reason why we're not high, is because we're using the wrong kind of towers. We just kind of really didn't care about our defense. Again, a Gargoyle Tower. So those things should be taken out, and I should be taking those out and putting more Firebolt Towers in there, more Skull Towers, and just upgrading them to better things. Overall, you can use a lot of different bases. You do want to have some choke points though, because like I said, gargoyles are pretty much king at this level. You want to have some gargoyles in your base, just in case people are using the night spam against you. They'll blow them all up. Gargoyles are great. Gargoyles work with the choke points though, so you need to have choke points like this. This right here is a long choke point. It's okay, not the greatest for gargoyles, but it works. Typically, you want to have these smaller choke points. So typically, like I said, you want the smaller choke points for the gargoyles to be more effective. A choke point like this, the Clover base, is a good base for the 3,000 trophy range. And this, he doesn't have any gargoyles in his base, so that may be a fault on him right there. But yeah, adding a couple gargoyles, that will blow up all these guys right here. You do also want to make sure that you have a Froster in every single wave, in my opinion. Frosters slow everything down, and they do a smidge amount of damage, but they slow everything down, which is huge. So I still recommend at this point is a couple gargoyles sprinkled in your waves, a Froster in every single wave, and then also, you know, if you're doing choke points, range DPS. If not, you can start off by, you know, mummies or wolves. Wolves aren't the greatest, but you just don't want things that are going to get one-shotted with a Blade Storm. So you don't really want knights. You more want range DPS. So wolves, mummies, ogres, they're all decent, depending on what your alliance uses. If you have elite boost on any of those guys, you're going to want to put that one in over the other guy. Wolf is kind of, like, first it goes ogre. Ogre is the worst. Then there's wolf. And then there's mummy. If they're elite boosted, you jump them up. So, yeah, he's got elite boosted mummy, which is great. He's got a lot of mummies in there. Or blasters and archers, that's kind of standard. Again, you want to have at least a couple mortars scattered throughout your waves, so that way they can give toxin damage. You might want to also invest in some snake towers. Snake towers get really, really powerful, and at the 3,000 trophy range, if players don't know how to avoid the snake tower or don't know how to counter it, that can be a king killer right there, and they can earn you some gems. So maybe 1 or 2 snake towers that are kind of max leveled, level 9, level 6, pretty high level there, and those will be really good in a base. But again, you can have different style of bases. It's your own personal preference at the 3,000 trophy. There is no great, amazing base that just is perfect. So you can see here's a completely different one as well. Again, a lot of range DPS. At this point, you start to realize that range DPS is king. You don't want any paladins in your waves unless you're using the Holy Paladin. So no paladins in your waves whatsoever. Knights will be in there just as the extra points. So if you have like 1 extra morale points, throw a knight in. But if you have 2, put an archer in. Archer's way better than a knight. The range DPS, of course. So that's going to be it for the tricks on how to get to 3,000 trophies there. If you have any questions or comments, remember, gargoyles, blow up your people, blow up the opponent with the gargoyles. That's also going to get you some gems as well, because gargoyles do some serious kamikaze damage and fast action